Hey there, fellow classic comic collectors. As always, I'm Scott Harris King, and today I'm back with another haul video filled with amazing stuff. So, as you know, I had a giant pile of comics. And that was because I spent several months at the end of last year for honing my collection. I sold off a ton of stuff that I no longer wanted or didn't fit my collection and made up, just to clear up space. And I sold off a couple thousand comics, and I used that money to buy more comics, but it was sort of like I'd sell $100 issues to buy one $100 issue, that sort of thing. And so when I got all this money in, I was buying up a bunch of cool stuff, and I've been sorting things, and I've shown you most of the stuff already, but I still have 2 videos left of some of the really cool stuff. Now, I had the romance video where you saw all the huge romance keys. Today we're going in a totally opposite direction because today is mostly going to be horror books. Now, typically don't collect horror. Because I don't really read horror. I'm not a fan of horror stories. I don't like horror movies. However, I do have a soft spot specifically for early Bronze Age DC horror because of all the great artists that are working on those covers. Bernie Wrightson, amazing covers. Neil Adams, you got Michael Kaluta, some just tremendous covers. And so I started buying higher grade copies of some of the covers that I really like. As I was doing that, I also bought a few non-horror comics, but for the same reason. So this video is basically going to be comics I bought just because I thought the cover was cool. And most of them are horror books, but we're going to start off with a non-horror. These are all just books I bought because I thought the covers were really cool and I wanted them in my collection for that reason. So we're going to start off with something you probably weren't expecting. It's an issue of Little Dot. It's Little Dot 119 with this great black cover and the rainbow dots all around her and Dot dancing. It's such a cute cover, but also the cover design, like it's so great. This has been on my radar for a while. This copy is, it's got some issues. It's got some bending. I think a press would really help this a lot. But it's a mid-grade, but with the black cover, the fact that a lot of the defects are not creases, but they're bends means that it displays great. So I paid $20 for this, and might end up being the only issue of Little Dot I ever own. But it's such a great cover that I really wanted to get that. Speaking of great black covers, I've got 2 sort of opposite color scheme covers coming up here, both from one of the cover masters, Nick Cardy. And Nick Cardy had this run of covers in like 68, 69, 70 that are just like absolutely top notch covers. And then DC editorial decided to start simplifying cover designs, and so Cardy's covers started getting more simple, and even though some of them are still really cool, they don't have the awesomeness of the early ones. But man, when Nick Cardy's allowed to do cool covers, whew, here's some great ones. And here's another black cover, and it is Teen Titans 14 with this classic cover. Not a Teen Titans fan, but I've seen this cover online a number of times. We have a thing on one of the forums where we do this like cover challenge where people will post a topic and then you post what coolest cover you can think of that fits that, and then people vote on it. And I've seen this on there a bunch of times because it's such a great cover. This is actually a mid-grade, but again, like the previous one, it looks better. In this case, the creasing that it does have on the black is actually like it runs along the seams. This one's not quite on the seam, but it runs with the seam of the picture, right? So there's actually a crease right here, but it's almost not noticeable because that's where it's supposed to be. So mid-grade, I think I paid $18 for this. But again, I just really wanted to have this in my collection. And again, I spent quite a bit of time selling off stuff and buying just books that I thought were cool. And the other one, you probably know what this is. One of the great covers. This is a high grade. Most of these I'm going to be showing are higher grade because I was trying to get high grade copies. This is probably, it was advertised to me as either an 8 or an 8.5. I think that's probably about right. It's a beautiful copy of Batlash #2 with one of the great covers. Just tremendous. I wish I could. The Mylars are great, but they reflect just everything, and I'm trying to get it. We're gonna have that problem a lot because a lot of these are in Mylars. But anyway, Batlash #2. I paid more for this. It was like $30. I was not cheap on these higher grade books with the classic covers because I wanted to have the really nice copies. If I'm buying comics to read, which is what I do most of the time, or to fill runs, I don't really care about condition. But since I'm buying this specifically for the cover, I wanted a high grade. Such a classic. Okay, now we're going to get to the horror stuff. Let me just rearrange these a little bit. I want to get these in a specific order. Okay. First up, it's a Charlton. It's a nice Charlton. I would say, it's probably a 7.5, but it's a classic Tom Sutton. I think it's Tom Sutton. Yeah. It's Ghostly Tales #41. Just an all-time classic horror cover. This didn't cost me that much because Charlton is so underrated. Even for a nice copy like this, I think it was $8 plus shipping. So just a classic. When I was looking at what horror books that I wanted to get for my horror cover collection, almost all of them are DC, but there are a few Charltons, and this was at the top of the list. So getting a really nice copy of that is something that I was really happy to do. Next up, Weird War Tales. So I sold off. I had about half the run. I sold those off, but I did keep a couple. But more importantly, I then used the money from selling those to buy a couple. Again, I paid a fair amount for this. I think it was $30. There was on the CGC forums, they did a Weird War Tales contest where they were having people vote for their favorite covers, and then they would eliminate them until they got down to the top ones. Anyway, this was voted the #1 cover in this series history, and it's so fantastic. Here it is. It's issue 15. Check out that amazing cover. I love half-frame covers to begin with, design-wise. I like the double bullet. I love the Weird War Tales logo. So the whole design fits in and works with it, but just the skull in the clouds. It's just tremendous. This was sold to me as an 8. And I don't know. Technically, I think it might have to be a little bit lower. Great placement of the double bullets, right? So this was a consideration for me. Is a lot of these they're cut off the top or they're cut off the side, or wrapped around. But this was almost perfect. It's got some crustiness, some tanning in this corner in particular, a little bit up here, but more on this corner. And I think so it's on a technical level, and that might hold it back. But the rest of it is just absolutely beautiful. It doesn't really affect how it looks very much. So great cover. This is a little bit more of a mid-grade. It's like a 6. But it's beautiful. I've always wanted a copy of this. It's House of Secrets 99, which of course is an MC Escher homage. I think this is Kaluta, if I remember correctly. And it's also a self-portrait where he's drawn himself. You can see he's drawing a page of comics there. I saw this as a kid when I was first getting into comics back in the 80s, in the mid 80s. I saw a picture of this, and I don't know if it's in a price guide or what, and I was just captivated by it. I do think the design is a little goofy. This era where they have the all new, the best in comics, because it pushes the main logo down. I don't know. It's just they should get rid of this, which they did, and they never quite got it right though. Like the double bullet should be made something should be made small enough so that this could just slot up in between them and move all the way up. Anyway, but it doesn't matter because it doesn't affect the art, and it's just so cool. Love it. So, House of Secrets 99. Here's another great House of Secret cover. House of Secrets cover by Kaluta, which I absolutely love. The colors on this are fantastic. It's issue 101. This is an issue that I didn't pay that much for a really high grade copy. I don't think this cover gets the love of a lot of the ones around it. The Wrightson covers have really started to take off, and the Neil Adams covers, but Kaluta's covers haven't really. And this is just a tremendous cover. I noticed when I was going to buy it that typical of covers with this cool color scheme, there's a variation of colors where this sort of moves into more of a blue, as I think that the ink was sort of running low as they're printing it, but this is more of a deep, rich color. And of course, as a writer, the cover where the giant monster is peering through the window at the writer. So yeah, this is the sort of thing where if I ever get, I have health issues, so I can't really sit at a desk, but if I could, this would be the sort of thing that I would have like on the wall where my writing station was. House of Secrets. For some reason, I just think the covers are consistently better in House of Secrets than House of Mystery. But here's a classic high grade, probably an 8.5, maybe 8.5. Again, I paid about $30 for it because I really wanted a high grade copy. It's House of Secrets 106. Now, I had a copy of this that was signed by Wrightson. That was a low grade copy I got out of a dollar bin. I ended up giving that to someone. But I love the cover, so I decided to use some of my money from selling books to buy a new one that's a high grade copy. So it's not signed, but it's just a great, great book. I love the black. Here's how you do the logo correctly. You know, they had the box with the thing and it's all squeezed and but no, here we go. Big logo, semi-frame, it's got everything. Double bullets are, again, well positioned. Beautiful copy. Just love it. And finally, the piece de resistance. The one that I paid the most for. I think I paid $90 for this. And when I bought it on the CGC forums, a number of people immediately were like, darn it, I can't believe I missed that. So they were queuing up behind me to buy this. And it's a high grade copy of House of Secrets 88. It's probably an 8.0. That's what it's advertised at, and I think that's about right. Beautiful, beautiful copy. Probably my favorite DC horror cover. One of my favorite Neil Adams covers, the late great Neil Adams. And just tremendous. I knew that I wanted a high grade copy of this. Let me see if I can adjust the lighting so there's less glare. Okay, I adjusted the lighting a little too much there, so let's just leave it the way it was. No glare though. It worked. No glare. So yeah, House of Secrets 88. Also, like, is well trimmed. Comes real close to the edge on this, but I've seen a lot of copies that are missing part of or all of the second 8, so it just says number 8, or it's cut off some of the cents. So really well centered. Just a beautiful, beautiful copy. Again, I paid $90 for it and do not regret that one bit. Very happy with this pickup. Yeah, so that goes right into my permanent collection. These all go into my permanent collection, but this has a special slot up with my keys. As I mentioned, a lot of these books are starting to get pick up steam, you know. People are starting to realize how great they are. But that's it. Those are some of the horror books, but the key covers that I spent some of my comics money on as I was refocusing my collection. So as I was selling off hundreds and hundreds of books, this is the sort of thing I was buying. But I do have one more video coming next time, next haul video. I think next time. I mean, I don't know. I record these so far in advance that I don't know what I'm doing. Next time could be anything. But I'm just going to say it anyway. I think that the next haul video that you're going to see from me is going to be keys. It's going to be all keys because I did buy a pile of big keys. Besides everything else that I've already showed you, like all the romance number ones and all that stuff, there's a pile of books that I just got because they're cool keys that I've always wanted. So next time around, sit down and grab yourself a brewski and get ready because it's just going to be key after key after key the whole video. So that's next time. Let me know what you think this time of these great books, and I'll see you next time.